long time ago, a massive explosion created the universe. Stars and planets formed, and here on Earth, life began to show up. First, we had bacteria, then plants, followed by animals, and eventually humans. We are not that big, we ain't strong, and we are definitely not fast. The only thing that really sets us apart from the rest of the animal kingdom is our big brain power. We are super intelligent, right? Or are we? With our brains, we went from small, goofy-looking creatures to the most powerful species in our solar system. We started off by banging rocks together and talking to each other.
Do you want to see my willy?
We made tools, then we figured out how to put clothing on. We built houses so we didn't have to sleep outside. Then we started growing fruits and veggies so we wouldn't go hungry when those late night snack cravings hit. But soon enough, we wanted other people's snacks. So we put on some fancy stuff and grabbed swords to go take someone else's munchies. That, my friends, was the birth of war. Yay. Then we got clever and invented the wheel to roll our stuff around.
Let's go.
Wrote books to pass on knowledge, built steam engines, and figured out electricity.
Oh, it's dangerous!
Eventually, we even landed on the moon and came up with the internet.
I am under the water.
What a species we are. And yet, we are the same species that constantly beats each other up, and often in the most stupid ways. It's the year 1788. Austria was at war with the Ottoman Empire, and things were getting heated. Austrian soldiers heard gunfire in the distance and got a warning.
Buckle up, the Turks are coming.
Naturally, chaos broke out, and they started shooting like a madman. But fun fact, they weren't actually shooting at the Turks. What? They were shooting at other Austrians.
I have bad news, bro.
But how could this happen? Imagine a few drunk Austrian soldiers. They got into a fight with each other because, of course, alcohol always helps in stressful moments. The argument got out of control, causing a few soldiers to be chased out of the bar. These soldiers had the best idea ever to get revenge. Wouldn't it be hilarious to pretend the enemy was attacking? So they fired off a few warning shots and shouted,
We are being attacked.
hilarious, right? What could go wrong? Oh wait, maybe 10,000 dead soldiers. And when the generals finally noticed, it was already a bit too late. 1859, a war broke out at the border between the US and British territory over a pig. Yes, a pig. There was this Irish guy who owned some pigs. These pigs sometimes wandered off into the border area and would munch some farmers' crops. The American farmer was not happy about this. Now the thing is, no one really knew whether this area belonged to the US or to Britain. So the US farmer did what every normal human being would do. Well, when the Irish guy realized the American farmer had shot his beloved pig, he wasn't too pleased. He reported the whole thing to the British government. Now, the British government thought the farmer should be thrown in jail for this outrageous crime. The American farmer? Oh, he wasn't having it and decided to call in the US military. Suddenly, 66 American soldiers were sent to this little border zone. When the British noticed, they were like,
We can do better.
They sent in 3 warships to show them how to handle stuff. Things just kept escalating. It was only a matter of time until there were almost 500 Americans armed with cannons and over 2,000 British troops facing off in this random little corner of the world, all over that one pig.
I'm Peppa Pig.
And they just stood there, staring day after day, and absolutely nothing happened. In the end, Germany was like, okay, let's settle this, the land belongs to the US. And they all lived happily ever after. Yeah, that's it. It was definitely necessary to send thousands of soldiers to get revenge on a pig. But not every ridiculous conflict ends so peacefully. In 1325, some soldiers stole a wooden bucket from a nearby town. Naturally, the residents of that town were not cool with it.
Hey, where are you going with that bucket?
And wanted their glorious bucket back. It was just a standard wooden bucket. They sent an army to fight and reclaim the bucket. Ah yeah, let's send thousands of people to get a wooden bucket back. We can't let this happen. But the enemy soldiers, oh, they weren't about to let go of their precious stolen bucket. They defended it with their lives. In the end, the town that was robbed failed, and the residents never got their beloved bucket back. very sad. To this day, there's a festival called the Bucket Heist, where they celebrate that glorious moment in history when they successfully stole and kept a bucket. Meanwhile, in the middle of the Kennedy Channel, there's this tiny island. Denmark and Canada haven't been able to decide who it belongs to. Back in 2005, the Danes said they would settle this matter just by raising their flag on the island. But when the Canadians found out, they were like,
Oh no, don't you!
they quickly removed the Danish flag and placed their own. And since then, it's become a tradition. Every time one of the countries visits the island, they yeet down the other's flag and raise their own. But here's the good part. Whenever they do this, they also leave behind a little gift. A bottle of schnapps.
Take that, you fool.
And all that, it's still going on to this day. Just as hilarious is the Cake War of 1838. Back then, some Mexicans looted the shop of a French baker and ate all his cakes. If I had to guess, they must have had red eyes when they had done this. The baker was pretty angry and complained to the King of France. So, like any normal person would, he demanded 600k pesos from Mexico as compensation. Mexico, of course, refused to pay. France's response? They sent an entire fleet to block the Mexican airport for 8 months.
Oh mamma mia, this is not very good.
Over cake. Yeah. In the end, Mexico had enough and decided to pay. And the baker could go back to peacefully baking his cakes. I call that a sweet victory. Now let's jump to 1932 in Australia. Australian leaders decided there were way too many emus running wild, ruining the vegetables of the farmers. These emus were everywhere, and something had to be done. The brilliant solution: let's declare war to the birds. Send in soldiers with machine guns to deal with the emus. Machine guns versus birds. You would think it would be easy. Go to emu, shoot emu, victory. Well, it turns out emus, or as I would like to call them, ninjas, are really fast. And to make things worse, they're surprisingly tough. They could take a hit from a bullet and just keep running. The soldiers quickly ran out of ammo. After about a week of this ridiculous war, the Australian army threw in the towel.
Hey honey, how was work today?
I don't wanna talk about it.
Out of the 20,000 emus they wanted to kill, they only managed to get around 2,500.
What?
That's right, the emus won the war. Australia 0, emus 1. Once upon a time, there was a crazy Chinese guy named Huang, who claimed he was the son of God and the brother of Jesus Christ. So naturally, he decided to start a group called the God Worshipping Society. And guess what? 10,000 retarded people actually joined his little club and believed everything he said. Ah yeah, some random guy claims he's related to Jesus. He's definitely telling the truth, right? Huang then formed a rebel army and gave himself a fancy new title, the Heavenly King of the Heavenly Kingdom of Peace. Yes, you heard that right. And in true peaceful fashion, his rebels went on to conquer an entire city, causing a lot of victims in the process. Heavenly Kingdom of Peace, sure. To make things even more fun, Huang ended up sniping out his second commander because he thought the guy was trying to take his job. After that, people started losing interest in his whole Heavenly Kingdom thing.
At least you stayed. Josh, I knew you were loyal.
In the end, Huang died from illness. No epic final, no grand victory, just a little favor. Son from God. Right. One of the longest wars in history was between the Netherlands and Britain. It lasted 335 years, but there were no victims. Wait, how is that even possible? Well, back in 1651, during the English Civil War, the Royalists of England had to flee and they decided to chill on a little island. From there, they started attacking Dutch trading ships. The Dutch were not amused and declared war on the Royalists. But after that, the Royalists stopped attacking the ships.
Well, that backfired. Guess it's time to start perfecting my palm leaf hat business.
And suddenly, there was no reason to keep fighting. So the war declaration, it's simple. Everyone kinda just forgot about it. Fast forward over 300 years, someone finally noticed that technically no peace treaty had ever been signed, and Britain and the Netherlands were still officially at war.
Boy, why are you disrespecting me, bro? My mistake, original gangster. No, this cannot be forgiven. Now empty the compartments of your pantaloon.
That same year, both sides signed a peace treaty, finally ending the war that no one even remembered they were in. 1077, a war broke out over a bucket of poop. Yes, a bucket again, but this time the insides were kinda gross. Robert, the son of William the Conqueror, had a brother. And one sunny day, Robert got quite the nasty surprise. His brother dumped the bucket on his head. Naturally, Robert wasn't very happy about this, so he ran straight to his dad, expecting William to punish his brother. He just ignored the whole thing.
Dad, look what my brother did to me.
Feeling betrayed, Robert started a rebellion against his own father.
To be honest with you, I'm kind of retarded.
He tried to take power and later attacked several of his father's castles. Things got really intense 2 years later when Robert and his father actually faced off on the battlefield. And believe it or not, Robert even managed to wound his own father in the fight. Despite all this, they eventually made peace. Because, you know, family. History is full of wild, absurd and downright hilarious moments. Whether it's fighting over a stolen bucket, a handful of cake, or even a bucket of poop, humans have always found some creative reasons to go to war. But hey, if Robert and his dad can make peace after all that, maybe there's hope for the rest of us.